Hey everyone, and welcome. Today we're going to dive deep into a story we all think we know, the story of Adam. But we're going to look at it in a way that shows it's not just some ancient tale. It's actually a profound test, and it's happening right now, inside every single one of us. So right off the bat, let's just challenge a huge assumption. We hear this story and we immediately think of it as, the origin story of humanity, something that happened way, way back then. But what if its real power isn't about history? What if it's really about your life, right now, today? You see, the source material for this explainer argues that the way the Quran tells stories is, well, it's designed to be confrontational. It's not just trying to inform you, it's trying to implicate you. These stories are meant to act like mirrors, forcing us to see our own reflection in the characters and the choices they make. And this quote just hits the nail on the head, doesn't it? This isn't some historical drama we can watch from a safe distance. The whole point of the narrative is to pull us right onto the stage. It's a timeless script about our own internal battles with ego, with failure, and with redemption. Okay, so what is this universal test really? A lot of people might think, well, it's about whether or not we believe in God. But the Quran pretty much dismantles that idea from the get-go. It suggests the real test is something much more subtle and honestly, a lot more challenging. The text points to this idea of a primordial covenant, a moment where every human soul supposedly already acknowledged God's existence. This means recognizing a creator isn't some huge intellectual puzzle we need to solve. It's basically presented as part of our factory settings. So pleading ignorance, that's not really a valid excuse. And for the prime exhibit, just look at Iblis, or Satan. Check out his resume here. He's not an atheist. He absolutely believes in God. He speaks directly to God. He even tries to reason with him. This guy has perfect theological knowledge. And yet, he is the ultimate failure. So this brings us to the million-dollar question, right? If the main character of Rebellion actually believes in God, then clearly, just believing can't be the final exam. So what is the real test of our lives? And here's the answer. The test isn't really about belief, it's about submission. More specifically, it's about what happens in that one critical moment when a divine command goes head-to-head with our ego, our pride, our sense of, I know best. This is the exact spot where Adam and Iblis face the same test, but their responses could not be more different. Just listen to Iblis's response. It is just dripping with arrogance. He doesn't just disobey, he justifies it. And his logic is all based on pride, on this feeling of superiority. He's basically telling God, your command is flawed because you don't realize how much better I am. This is the voice of pure, uncut ego. Now compare that to Adam. He also failed. He also disobeyed, but his response is the total opposite. There are no excuses, no blame shifting, nothing. There is just instant self-accountability. Our Lord, we have wronged ourselves. He takes complete ownership and turns right back to God, humbly asking for forgiveness. So this is the whole point. The fundamental choice we all face isn't really between obeying and disobeying, because let's be real, everybody messes up. The real choice is between self-justification, which leads you further down the road of rebellion, and self-accountability, which leads to realignment, to getting back on the right path. But, it's not just what the story says that's so powerful, it's how it says it. The source text we're drawing from points out this literary genius in the Qur'an's method, its heavy reliance on dialogue. Think about it for a second. The text could have just summed it all up in one sentence. It would have been super efficient, totally clear. But it doesn't do that. Instead, God actually asks Iblis a question. What prevented you? Why do that? Because by forcing Iblis to answer, the Quran does something absolutely brilliant. Evil isn't just described from the outside. It's forced to explain itself, to spell out its own warped logic. The justification, the arrogance, it all comes straight from his own mouth. So his condemnation isn't just handed down, it's earned and demonstrated in his own words. And that's the key right there. A simple summary would have just been a story about a thing that happened a long time ago. But by using dialogue, the story exposes a timeless mindset. That question, what prevents you, it's not just for Iblis. It breaks out of the story and echoes down through history, confronting every single one of us. And this brings us to the final and maybe the most powerful point. This whole drama, it's not a closed case. The trial is still going on, the story is unfinished, and whether we know it or not, we are all characters in it. Think about it.
The setting of this story is really the setting of our own lives. Our life is the garden. Every moral crossroads we face, every choice between what's right and what we want, that's the tree. And every single time we justify a wrong move by thinking, well, I know better, or I'm an exception to the rule, we are literally echoing the logic of Iblis.
So, in this context, the source we're looking at suggests that the word Islam isn't so much a noun, like a label you wear, but more like a verb. It's a dynamic action. It's the act of submission, the constant process of realignment. It's having the guts to look at your own mistakes and, just like Adam, having the humility to say, I was wrong, and turn back. And that's why life is described as a test to see who is best in action, not who has the most actions. It's not a numbers game. The test is all about quality. It's about the sincerity of our heart's direction. Are we pointing towards justifying our ego, or are we pointed towards realigning with what's true, even after we've stumbled? So the story of Adam, it never really ends. It just keeps playing out in every choice we make, in every little justification we whisper to ourselves. And it leaves us with this one kind of haunting thought. When we read this story, we're not just reading about Adam, we're reading about ourselves. The person on trial is us.